Hey yeah, so I wasn't anticipating talking about Galpal again quite this soon, but this week was very busy, what with I just graduated and also I've been tired and lazy and so I don't have anything else to show. If you didn't watch my last video because I edit like someone who's just eaten the intensely sugary chocolate bar off of Gordon Ramsay's future food stars, then the plot summary so far is that I'm making a Discord bot called Galpal. The purpose of Galpal is to record conversations in Discord and then transmit those conversations in the form of parliamentary discussions to a website with a database that they can be read in a style vaguely attempting to replicate Hansard, the Journal of UK Parliamentary Debate. I figured as something of a postscript to that last video, I might talk you briefly through what my plans for the future are for this tool, and because this is my channel, I can talk about my parliamentary Discord software if I want to. There's nothing you can do about it, besides, unsubscribe. First though, I've set up a development server to test the bot, the link to which is in the description. If you, like me, haven't seen the sun in days and think touching grass is a foreign concept, do feel free to join. The more testing the software gets, the easier it is for me to identify problems. On the other hand though, you should probably go outside occasionally. So anyway, here's 5 things I'd like to add to the Galpal project. We're currently in v0.1-b and we're angling to get to v1, which will be the ostensibly production-ready version which has most of the core features I'd like it to have. Given the relatively wide scope and the fact that Hansard proper has far more features than Galpal does, there's a lot of work before we get to something remotely comparable, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and nor was this rubbish Discord bot, so let's take it a step at a time. Immediate short-term stuff I'd like to do, like I said last time, the big thing is sorting out time zone settings. Galpal translates a Unix timestamp, essentially a number of seconds since January 1st, 1970, to work out what time to display to the end user. The advantage of using a timestamp like this is it's very easy to convert it from one time zone to another. The only challenging element will be adding a setting to the setup page that lets you alter the time zone of your site. In a later iteration, it might also be good to let individual viewers of the site change the site on their end to display time zones in their local format. I'd also like to add support for reading images from Discord messages. Sometimes in Discord you can attach media, video, audio, etc. and those media have links that can feasibly be embedded into the transcripts. That could be quite interesting, I think, and it's something that Parliament doesn't necessarily have because, you know, MPs can't just say an embeddable URL out loud. That would be confusing. Having mentioned images, speaking about media and messages more generally, I'd like it to be possible for the admin in the debate setup screen to be able to hide certain messages or whatever. This, I think, would be particularly useful if we're wanting to obscure NSFW content, or if the site wants to have a policy against the use of swear words and the like, though on the latter point it's just as easy to just download an open source list of profanities and have it filter them out. On the subject of attachments, votes. When parliamentarians vote, they're generally voting on something, a proposal or a bill or a motion of some kind. Sometimes a one-sentence summary of the vote is fine because the motion itself is fairly rudimentary, but sometimes the vote is on something more substantive, like a piece of legislation. In the latter case, a simple one-line summary is insufficient. What I'd like to do to solve it is add an optional link to the vote segment of the transcript that goes to a PDF or something so that you can read what's being voted on. I briefly humoured coming up with something that can transcribe legislation into a similar format to the debate script itself, but because most nation projects have differing formats and standards for how their laws look, it would probably be futile trying to come up with a way to display it through my UI instead of just linking to it. Maybe I'll use an iframe, I don't know. Having mentioned parliamentarians, I'll briefly touch on that. Hansard has a publicly accessible list of current and former members of parliament which shows you a highly granular amount of information about them, their voting decisions and their contributions to debates, and I think that could be replicated here. This is a significant amount of work though, and completing it would definitely be a v0.1 to v0.2 kind of transition, just on the basis of the fact that the codebase would probably have to double in size to accommodate it. Getting into specifics, the People tab should have a list of people, all the titles they've been associated with, former and current, all their contributions to debates, potentially their party affiliation if applicable. It should also be possible for an admin to go in and make adjustments so pages are more accurate. In debates, you should be able to click on the name of the speaker to get to their People page. So the People update to Galpal, in addition to all of the other smaller changes I've described, will take us from v0.1 to v0.2. But how do we go from v0.2 to v0.3? Well, that's a question for later. Wider scale testing with people who aren't me has to happen once v0.2 is out in order to make a determination on what would be useful to add. Anyway, yeah, short video this week because I've got a few ideas that take a little longer than the amount of time I had to put together, but hopefully they'll be good and or passable. Also, I got a raft and I can't think of a name, so if you have any ideas,